Hey, now it's Anthony with A&A bringing you another video. Today, I want to talk about unwanted advice, asking for permission, and validating yourself. Let me start by talking about validating yourself. A lot of us, we want to be validated by others. And we have to learn to validate ourselves. We go around and, we do the strangest things, and we want people to tell us that we're doing a good job, or that you're amazing, or that, oh man, I like what you're doing with your business. I like this, I like that. You want someone to pay attention to what you got going on because you're passionate about it. But you have to be able to validate yourself. You set your goals and you meet your goals. And once you meet your goals, you look back and say, man, this is where I was this day. This is where I was 2012, and this is where I am now, 2017. And you're seeing progress. That's how you validate yourself. And I had this issue. I left the police department, and a lot of people told me that was a big mistake. And people were asking me, so what are you gonna do now? Well, I'm gonna start my own lawn service, cutting grass. And you see how they just dismissed what you just said? I said I'm going to start my own lawn service, which means I'm going to start my own company. I'm going to start my own business. And they just knocked it down to, you got to cut grass, So that hurt me. I'm a prideful person. I like to stand out above the rest. I like to do a good job. I take myself seriously, you know what I'm saying? Not all the time, but, I take my work and my business and that type of stuff serious. And when someone just dismiss it that way and say cut grass, dismiss my whole company, forget the fact that it's a company, just, but okay, I'm getting mad. But anyway, so that's the problem that I had. And when I was a police officer, people just gave me that validation already. I was, I'm in uniform, I'm walking around, people showing me respect, people giving me attention and everything, and I was used to that. And then when I went and left that and started, cutting grass and like they would say, and washing cars, I was a little dusty, a little dirty, a little scruffy, because you're working all the time, so you might skip a few shaves, you may skip a few haircuts, you may not groom yourself because you're not going anywhere special, you're gonna get up and go work. So that's how it was, and I was always looking for that validation. But I started to learn to validate myself, and I did that by, keeping records, keeping records of my earnings, keeping, keeping records of my work, taking pictures of work I have done, just remembering all the good feedback that I got from my clients. Setting goals, looking at the goals, I write it down. I look at the goals I set for myself in 2012, and then I look at 2014, and I've done that and more. So that's how I validate myself. And don't get me wrong, validation from others is great, but don't seek out for it because you may not get it. And if you don't get it, you may get upset and you may quit and try to go seek something else that people will look up to. You'll try to find a career or something that's more prestigious that people be like, oh, so what do you do? Oh, I'm a lawyer. Oh, and if you want that, there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, validate yourself. And yeah, another story about the self-validation. I remember, and you can see how others will validate you eventually once they see that you're grinding and that you're being consistent and they start to see your lifestyle, and then they will come around and be like, man, they'll start asking you questions. I'll give you an example. One day, I'm sitting at home, and one of my friends in the police department, he pulls up. We outside, we talking, we having a good time laughing, and we didn't discuss, policing. We didn't discuss careers or anything. We were just talking. And while we were out there, about 4 or 5 people pulled up and handed me money or checks. They were paying me for the work that I did that day. And a lot of them forgot to put the money out, or they had to run to the bank and go get money. So, and I don't mind because they live in an adjacent neighborhood. I see them all the time. So, they'll drive by and pay me. So they was coming by, and the guy, he was looking, and he was like, wow. And he was like, man, I must have counted about, $250, $300. And I said, yeah. He was like, what, those all the yards you did today? I said, yeah, and plus some. That's a few of them that I did today and some. And he was like, what? Man, you telling me you made over $300 today? And I was like, yeah, man, ain't gonna want y'all in my business, but I mean, yeah, I made over $300 today. He was like, man, and he's still in the police department, and he may make lucky. If he's lucky, he might make $150 a day or $160 a day if he's lucky. You see? So then their perception started to change. And then I started getting that validation. They'll come see me, oh man, you making all that money cutting grass. Oh man, making all that good money, easy money. They started saying all this stuff. And things change. Family members, they was, my mom, baby, when you gonna get you a job? I said, Mom, I don't need a job. I mean, what I need a job for? I got my company. And she was, it's just their perception. And my mom, don't get me wrong, my mom means well, but she don't know any better. She's not business oriented. She worked a job all her life, and that's what she knows. And I understand that, but that's just not what I want my life to be. And so I showed my mom my tax return, my forms and everything. And she saw my income. She saw my adjusted gross income, and she saw my gross income, and she couldn't believe it. She couldn't believe it, and that changed her perception. Okay, enough about that. I got too long in on that one, but that one really, that self-validation. People validating you, and it's not really the validation. It's kind of like when they dismiss you because they feel like the work that you're doing is nothing, and that's why I got so long in on that. But the next one is stop asking for permission. And we do this often. And I know you guys are like, what is he talking about? What does he mean by asking for permission? I don't need to ask nobody permission to start my own business. I'm my own person. But I'm gonna tell y'all exactly what I'm talking about. Alright. You might have lost your job, you might have been fired, laid off, whatever the case may be. And the workforce is not for you. And now you say, I want to start my own business. One of the first things you do is probably you go on the internet and you start looking. And one of the other first things you may do is you may call your friends and family. And what are you gonna say? Hey, man, I'm just tired of this working, man. I want to do my own thing, be my own boss, and start my own business. What you think? That's when you ask for permission. Indirectly, you don't think you did, but indirectly, you just asked that person for permission. So now, two things that person is gonna do. They're gonna say, if they're positive, if they're your friend, they want to see you make it, they're gonna say, man, I think you can do it. I mean, you got a good business mind. I think you should go out there and do it. I don't know why you hadn't done it before. You're really smart and blah, blah. And that's some good advice. That's a good friend. But then you're gonna have that friend that, that's negative, or a family member that's negative and don't have a business mind and don't see business as working for anybody, and give you a whole bunch of negative advice and a whole bunch of negative opinions. Now you got all you need on why not to do a business, and then you give up because you value that person's opinion because they're your friend, and then you don't even do it. You know, so don't ask for permission. Like, you know, most of the people, when I started my stuff, I didn't even tell them what I was doing. You know, I told a few friends that I was close to, but other than that, I didn't tell everybody. They found out, but I didn't tell everybody. I just started doing my thing, and because 9 times out of 10, if you go around asking for permission, the majority of the people are gonna tell you something negative. They're gonna give you all the reasons on why not to start a business. You know, the IRS, all this crap, and 9 times out of 10, you know, you're afraid, and sometimes you're looking for someone to tell you, man, go ahead and do it, or say, man, no, don't do it, it's gonna be a bad idea. You're looking for that permission, okay? So don't do that either. Unwanted advice. One thing I don't do is I do not give unwanted advice. And what I mean by that is that, like right now, I'm giving advice, but I'm giving advice to a certain group of people. I'm giving advice to this group of people who want to start a business, you know, either lawn care, mobile car washing, or whatever it is. That's my audience, and that's why I'm giving you this advice. Like, I don't go out and give this random advice to just any smoke Joe walking down the street unless they ask me. So, what I mean by unwanted advice, you ever have that friend that, it doesn't even have to be a friend, just a random person. They see you doing something, and then they want to walk up to you and give you this advice that you did not ask for. And pretty much, after you get done talking to them, you feel like your ideas don't matter, that they're stupid, and that their ideas is what you should, you know, that they felt like that their ideas is what you should do. And that's what unwanted advice usually feels like to me. I hate it. I hate when people give me unwanted advice, because for the mere fact that I didn't even ask you for it. Why are you talking to me? You know? But what I started doing is, as I got, you know, when I was younger, I would argue, but what I started doing when I got older is I would just take it in and I would filter what works for me, and the rest I wouldn't even listen to. And my reply would be, oh, I appreciate the info, I'll check into that. And either way, if it was some good advice, I'm gonna say that. If it was some bad advice, I'm gonna say that too. So you never know if you gave me good, if you gave me good or bad advice. I guess if you stick around long enough to see if I used it, then that's the only way you'll figure it out. But I don't mean to be rude, but I do not like unwanted advice. I did ask you for it, you know. So that's the thing. Learn how to filter out negative advice. Stop asking for permission. And you have to validate yourself. Set your goals, meet your goals. And when you sit back and look at what you have accomplished, that's self-validation. If you're gonna say, you know, I wanna have a nice truck with a nice trailer, with some nice equipment, start working on that. You know, get you the nice truck, or find you a truck and make it nice. Get you a nice trailer and start buying you nice equipment. And then, you know, 2 or 3 years have passed, 4 years have passed, and you'll sit back and you got all this nice equipment. That's self-validation, because you set a goal and you met the goal. So that's all I got for this video, guys. I see you on the next video. Y'all stay tuned, subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. That way, when I put up a video, it will notify you that I just posted a video. Thanks for watching.